Hey guys, welcome back to the review. Today we're talking about the latest Marvel projects, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm joined by Lawrie. So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is Marvel's latest film that came out start of September. And it takes you through a journey of Shang-Chi from his childhood, being raised by an interesting father, shall we say, and where his life ends up 10 years after being kicked out of, or after leaving his father's organization. What were your general thoughts on Shang-Chi?
I thought it was enjoyable, but I did feel like it was a step back from Marvel. And I thought it was always going to be hard to follow, kind of like they have just kind of wrapped up everything they've been working on for the past decade. So it was always, I think it was always going to be a tough start. But I don't think it was necessarily bad, but I just thought it was like similar to the movies we had that weren't kind of like the main chain of the Avengers kind of films. They were kind of their standalones. It did feel kind of quite similar to those in the ways that it was quite flawed in parts. But it was still a pretty enjoyable movie. And that was probably like one of the first back in cinemas that I've watched in ages, so that always helps as well.
Yeah, I think coming off of Black Widow, I enjoyed this a lot more.
Yes, yeah. It was better than Black Widow.
I think Black Widow was a real step back. It really had some major flaws with it. I think though, with Phase 4, speaking about it in general, my problem with the film is my problem with every Phase 4 project, and that's just they don't know how to wrap up an ending.
Oh yeah.
This is an origin movie, and I would say it's probably one of Marvel's better origin films. I feel like they really struggled with a lot of them.
Yeah.
Just thinking back, like the Incredible Hulk, Thor, to some extent the Captain America, the first one. I feel like this is on par with that. Or like Black Panther. They're slightly better origin movies. But they want to set up so many other things now that they just can't make a concise ending. And you really feel that in this film, because I feel that the first two acts, I would say, are, well, the first act I think is near perfect. I really like the introduction to Sean and Katie. I love their dynamic.
See,
and so,
I have a hot take.
I don't think it's a hot take.
I didn't like
Awkwafina,
Katie.
yeah.
I didn't dislike Awkwafina, I just disliked Katie in this film.
Interesting, why?
I thought she just cracked an obvious or stupid joke every 5 seconds, where 90% of them were completely unnecessary or not funny. And there was no sort of, I felt there was no need for her to be in this film.
I think she was a surrogate for the audience. Like, she
Yeah.
was the introduction to this world,
Yeah.
and you're seeing it through her eyes.
Yeah, like I feel like when they do that, like she just found out that her best friend growing up is like a secret assassin that is like descended from an evil warlords and their army. She's like, okay, and like although that kind of has to be like that for the movie, it does just feel very like she's here to tag along and say silly stuff. She's not really a person of her own.
Yeah. I think it hinges on whether or not you like her brand of humor. And if you like that comedy, I think you'll really enjoy it. If you don't, then...
She does seem to be quite a polarizing part.
Yeah, and I don't understand why. Because I really, really liked her. And on a second watch, I was like, she isn't that comedic. Like, upon rewatch, like, it's not as quippy as I thought it was the first time.
I don't know, I've not watched it again, but I did think that Marvel, since kind of they started introducing kind of lighter aspects in their films, like clips, and people really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh,
they're
people
oversaturating
like clips.
Yeah.
Let's just do tons of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like they've kind of killed that kind of humor now to an extent, where it's like the odd one can really work and kind of like cut the tension for that second, and it kind of like breaks you out of like a kind of tense moment. But sometimes you need tensions in films, and I think this was one film where you needed it. But her just, I mean, there was kind of a few clips from various people, but her specifically, it was every 5 seconds, anytime there was any form of tension, it's just nope, funny joke. And it's like the one where they're up on the building, and they're like having this massive fight down scaffolding. So any second, someone could fall and die, and then just like, and I was sitting there, and that was like probably the only part of the film where I was actually kind of gripped.
Yeah.
And then just nope, joke, haha, and you're she's like sings to one of the people.
Oh, but
And I
that
was
was fucking funny.
I thought it
Sorry,
so
I thought it was
place.
so funny.
I didn't like.
What would you do in that moment?
You don't sing. Someone trying to stab you, like singing to them.
But it's like if you're getting bullied at school, you distract them with something that they're not.
It's just so American. I think that was my
It's
issue.
very
It just
American,
feels
yeah.
so American.
They're American though.
No, I know, but maybe that's my issue, just lies with
We need a
American
Scottish Marvel film.
Yeah, pretty much.
No humor whatsoever.
Or just very dry,
Stoic.
sarcastic.
Great. Can't wait for
That's
Eternals. Richard Madden
Yeah,
gonna
that's
just
the
see
one.
this
Yeah.
blind slate. I think the thing that makes this film stand apart from the rest of the MCU, because tonally it's very similar, is the cinematography.
Yeah, I was
The way
gonna
it's
say a
shot.
lot of time when I see a film which like annoys me in like the ways that it has, I tend to focus on that. But I have to say, like visually, that was
Oh,
possibly the best one in the film. The action sequences,
The bus
like
scene.
the bus scene and the driving, even like the driving through the Backwood Forest.
Yeah.
It's done really well.
or the opening scene with the two people fighting,
Yeah, I thought
his
that
dad
was,
and his mom.
yeah, felt extreme visually.
Visually, yeah, visually it was nice, but it felt like a dance.
Yeah.
I feel like the choreography was like really well done. Like at times it felt more fluid and stuff, which was cool. The thing that gets me about the visuals though is the CGI is my main downfall of this film. It's horrific.
I thought it was going really, really well until the last.
It's a mess. It's a grey mess.
Until the dragon comes out and it's just very underwhelming.
I saw this first in IMAX, and then I saw it again in a normal cinema. In IMAX, it was atrocious. Like it was better on a rewatch, but to watch a blockbuster film that's made for a big screen like that, and to be looking at scenes, the scaffolding scene. Is there another fight? No, it's just the ending. It's just like that whole ending sequence. You're looking at it, you're like, it's a mess. Like, what's going on?
I didn't take it the last 15-20 minutes of that film and rewrite it. It could be miles better.
Yeah, no, I agree. It could be like top tier
Yeah,
Marvel.
it could be really good.
Yeah.
And I thought having, I think his name is Tony Long.
Yeah,
the guy
Tony
who
Long.
played the dad.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think and Marvel always had problems with villains.
Yeah.
And he would be perfect to have as a villain. But like, no, see
Kill
that
him off.
monster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, yeah, and then his character just, oh, no, don't worry about him anymore. And it just felt so stupid.
They built him up so well throughout the entire film. He's probably the best part of the film.
Yeah.
This emotional relationship that he has to Shang-Chi, and also his sister Jialing. The bond that he has with both of them, in the scenes that they are together, but even indirectly when they're speaking about, you know, their father and how he brought them up and stuff, and then seeing flashbacks of actually him raising them, it worked so well. And then when the third act comes along and having this emotional heart to it, it then just falls flat and they go for big monsters and stupid stuff.
Yeah. And I thought his sister was such an interesting aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
She was
Sideline.
undersold massively.
I agree.
I thought that she could have had a much better part to play, especially in the ending. And I think with the whole kind of thing with Shang-Chi and his dad, I thought her and dad was so much more interesting.
Yes.
As a way that, 'cause
Yes.
he just kind of disappeared when he was 10 years old, but she'd been there the whole time, and they'd have this whole where he never really respected her, and it would have been so much more interesting having her kind of more. It's probably could have been her movie, and it probably would have turned out.
I saw reviews that were like that. It should be like Jialing and the Legend of the
Yeah.
Ten Rings, because you, as you say, like she's there the entire time.
Yeah.
And you do get like certain lines, like when they first go back to the Ten Rings compound, she's speaking with Katie, and like she's nervous about being around him, and she's like, you know, don't say anything, he's not going to notice that you're here. Like, you have lines like that, and they're like, oh, shit, like, that's quite deep and hurtful and stuff. It's never fully expanded on, which is sad.
It's a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste. And I think the post-credit scene for that is cool. If you're setting up something, but it's just like we talked about earlier, like, you should be able to have a movie that is like
Interesting in its own
okay
right.
in its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be walking away going, I really like that. Can't wait to see this in the next film.
Yeah, I think Marvel for the past like every film since maybe leading up to a few before Infinity War Endgame has been they've just dedicated so much of the film with like what we're setting up.
Yeah.
It's all films just aren't like a main chain, feel like setup films.
Yeah.
And it's just getting so boring.
Which is weird in Phase 4 because we're aware that they're setting up this multiverse thing, and that's happening, you know, in WandaVision, in Loki, in What If to a certain extent. But there are films like this and Black Widow, granted Black Widow is a prequel, that feel grounded. Do you have the opportunity to tell like a succinct story? But then they just choose like, oh no, it's in the universe. Look, the Shang-Chi at the end is going off with Wong, and they're going to be part of the next big multiverse event. And while that makes me really happy, and I can't wait to watch that film, like when they're all together, I'm like,
Focus on one film at a time.
but I can go back and watch Iron Man 1 and be like, that's a solid film.
Yeah.
I don't need to know where he goes next or that. That's just a cool film. Or even to a certain extent, like even the prior like Avengers movies, or like Civil War, like stuff that has a lot of characters together. You can watch them by themselves and be like,
That was a good film.
you told us a succinct story.
And every single Phase 4 project so far.
Everyone,
Black
it's
Widow,
annoying me.
It's all been like, at one point in the film, Doctor Strange, we just want to name
Yeah.
drop him in here.
Would you recommend people go see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings?
Yeah, I still recommend it. I think it's probably one of their kind of middle productions.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sits around that kind of area. But yeah, I still recommend it. I'd probably give that around a 3, maybe a 3.5 if you want that. On a second
You know,
watch, might be like,
little spicy.
and we enjoyed it a bit more this time. But yeah, I think probably around that range.
Yeah. I'd recommend you see it in the cinema if you can. It might not be in the cinema when this comes out. But it'll be coming on Disney Plus on Disney Plus Day, which is like the start of November. So if you want to save some money, I think this is a fine streaming film, to be honest. I would rate it, currently I have it as a 4 out of 5, because I really enjoyed the first 2 acts. I think the action is some of the best in the MCU, but they start off with the best action scene. I think that bus scene is incredible, and it slowly gets worse. I think the whole movie in general does that. But I enjoyed the dynamics. They had like a really good villain, a really good lead character that I'm interested to see more of, and side characters, to be honest. Again, wanting to see more of it. It's just, it's Marvel.
They got so like hooked in from Phase 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
That now, no matter what they put out, even if it's awesome,
just
they're still going to be
watch
like,
it.
I'll stop watching
Amazing.
something.
Unless it's like Thor: The Dark World. I'm like,
But even then, we went and we watched that, and we still went,
And
I'll
it's still
watch
like,
4, 3.
I've rewatched it like 3 times because I'm like, oh, it's part of the MCU rewatch. Even though I know it's a shit film.
Maybe it'll be better this time.
Yeah.
It never is.
Like there's one joke in there. I watched it for that one joke. But yeah, I'd recommend to see it.